Okay, so it's 6:55 on the 28th, which is my second daughter's birthday today. So, anyways, I'll message her later. But anyways, I don't even know where to start. I feel like last night was so intense. It was so freaking, oh my God. I can't even. Some of these nights, it's just is like, what in the hell is going on, man? It's so fucking weird. Um, the thing with the trying to sleep and having all these weird things, like it felt like my body was like trying to come apart or something, and it was so uncomfortable. And and I was having to like crawl into a little ball and hold it together, kind of. And then when I was doing that, it still felt like everything was just moving too fast. Everything was loud. It felt like the only time I think that I've ever really felt like that, I was trying to think back, and it seems like it was like drinking a Pepsi when I used to drink soda. I don't drink soda anymore. But when I used to, it was like drinking a Pepsi and then going to bed. I think there's a lot of, because I could drink a cup of tea and go to bed and be fine. But drinking a Pepsi, I don't know what they do to crank that shit up. But it is like I can't, my mind keeps spinning and everything's loud and I can't relax. It's weird. So it felt like that. And then if I tried to move around, it felt like my body was falling apart. It felt like it was being, and I kept taking magnesium, spraying magnesium on my feet, and it was wild, man. And then whenever I'm uncomfortable, I always know, like, as Stella will be so uncomfortable all night, and so she is. Every time she wakes up and she's uncomfortable, she just starts whining at me, and then it was just chaotic. I swear to God. I don't understand what's going on with Max. And I feel like this is crooked as fuck. I think it's too low, too. I'm gonna adjust it. Let's see. Whoa. Going for a ride. Um, these things are so sucky. They are so cheap. So, anyways, the Max, for one thing, when I fed him, it was weird. I mean, he just gets messier and messier when he eats. It's like, what is going on? Why are you making such a mess? I mean, Stella makes a mess when she eats, but she has for a long time. And it's the food comes out the sides. He doesn't have that kind of face. And so, I don't know what is going on. Why it's like making such a mess. And then, I was said something to him and he turns around and he's like real nervous and uncomfortable. He turns around, he's like foaming at the mouth. He's got all of this foam and I'm like, is he having a problem swallowing? What is going on? And it's so crazy. It's like you'd think if he had some issue, like if you had the C or something, then it would show up in your labs. Something would be off. And for his labs to come back perfect, then it's like, my mind spins around. What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? And then I thought, well, maybe his teeth. But and then when we went to the dog park the other day, the day the shit almost ripped my arm off, he kept doing this drooling again. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, Stella drools all the time, but he didn't drool before. And then I even started thinking, well, could she have given something in the water? Now he's got it. But I give him all of these things, all of these cleanses. Like I give him so much stuff. And even in their water, it has stuff in it. So I was like, what in the world? And then, so then I was trying to wipe his face, just food all over his face. And he tried to bite me. He was like, no, you're not touching my face. He doesn't, like, it's the weirdest thing how he doesn't let me, like even when I had his toenails clipped at the vet and she said, oh yeah, it was real easy. I was like, what? Fuck, I can't do it. I even try and put a muzzle on him. He just pulls that off and he still tries it. Like, I can't even wipe his face. Even when he cut his eye and I was trying to put aloe vera on it, he wouldn't let me. He doesn't let me do anything. And I don't know what, I don't know what his past is or anything. I don't know what his anxiety is or whatever. I don't know what's going on. So, We'll go through the whole thing, and he's foaming at the mouth. He doesn't finish his food, and Stella runs over and eats the rest, of course. And then if Ruthie would have been in here, she would have. So there's always one of them running in there to eat his food. And then so then, or I think I was maybe I was still on my phone, and they were all going to sleep or something. And then he jumps up and starts puking. So he starts puking. And it's the weirdest thing. Maybe I was already in bed. Because it's the weirdest thing. It's like, how does she know he's about to puke? Because it's like a fucking bullet, man. And so he pukes, and I jump up. She's already over there gobbling the shit up. I'm trying to turn the lights on. And then he jumps up on the bed, and I'm like, do not vomit on the bed. I push him back down off the bed. He jumps back up on the bed, pukes on the bed. Now I'm like, fucking livid, I swear to God. So I'm trying to clean that fucking puke up. So I put that in a paper towel, trying to clean the blankets off. So I don't want to sit there and have to do laundry right now. And she's over there just still gobbling up the fucking puke. He's still, now, sometimes when I get upset, I don't know if it stops him from puking, like he's like, whoa, or he's finished. I don't know. And so he didn't puke anymore, and I cleaned it up and I put it in the thing. So in the middle of the night, then, and Stella's waking me up, then she wants to go out, and she's just whining and whining. So I got up and I gave her one of her little glucosamine things with some RSO on it. Well, that just bent fucking Ruthie. She just was bent then. And, like, how unfair, Stella's getting something. So she gets up, and I'm, like, have an eye on her, and she goes over towards the bathroom, and I'm like, what is she doing? She goddamn gets the fucking paper. I forgot to dump the trash out. She gets the paper towel with the puke out, runs out here, and starts trying to eat it. Just, what the fuck? Oh, my God. Which, I mean, it's kind of my own fault to leave the fucking puke in there, taunting her, I guess. So anyways, that's going on in the middle of the night. When Stella had to go out, I did look out to see if it was still the same kind of way that those fleets were looking, because it was around the same time. And so I looked out there, and it wasn't like any kind of formation, and it just looked like tons of stars. It just looked like there was lots of stars, which I don't think stars are stars. So I think that's not what they've told us. And then stars started moving, and so there's whatever's going on. There's something going on, and I don't know, but they weren't in like that formation like they were the other night. So, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if sometimes we're not. Because when you are trying to, okay, like my reference would be like when you're trying to tune into a station, a radio station, and you go in between the two stations and you start getting a combination of this one and that one on either side of it. Sometimes you can even go over and get this one that's past this one is trying to come in on this one. I've had that happen before. So you have all these stations that are kind of in the in-between, and which there's some people who may not even understand that reference because they may not have that, but it used to be a lot more like that, where you were trying to tune in a station and you'd have to turn the knob to get the station in, and then you'd have to kind of keep fluctuating it to get it to where the station was the loudest. And I don't know, to me, it still goes on, like if I go on road trips and stuff. But the station, it used to, even on the TV, like you would flip channels, but there would be a channel before the channel that would like have this, like it was picking up a little bit of two stations. So there was still this mix up in this in between, and that's what it kind of reminds me of, like the skies, is that we're in between, and so we have this fluctuation of more than one station coming in, and so that is where I would consider that there, we could be going in and out of another realm of existence. And it is, and, you know, and I don't know. I mean, it could be one that's prepared for war with the, like, yeah, I have no idea. But the, because if we're blending in with these other realities, you know, you just don't know what's going on in that reality, kind of, you know, what their experience is. And there is like definitely throughout this whole process of awakening, there has been a lot of stuff that has gone on in the sky where people have said they're battling up in the sky. And it's by certain colors and sounds and like these shock waves or something. It's like, and I know over where I was living, it would be these weird sounds, like where they would try and be like it was thunder, but it wasn't. And then there would be these weird flashes where it was like, man, it totally does seem like that they could be battling. And then there was even people who were saying that they were clearing out those holes underneath the ground, and that as they were clearing them out, it was creating these battles that were going on. So I don't know. I know things are not what they tell us. Things are a lot different than what we understand. And so it has so much to do with, like, let's see, like, what is going on. And in the sky. The sky is just so wacky. And the colors and stuff. And I know some of the stuff about the colors is also the stuff that is sprayed up there, you know. But then there's also this other merging of these worlds happening. So, and it's not in the physical, it's in vibration. So it's vibratory. So it's like it can be right there, but you can't see it because you're not in that storyline, you're not in that vibration. But as we are changing our vibration, it's pulling us into a more exaggerated, bigger, comprehensive experience. So it's bigger. So anyways, and then when I was going to sleep, when I was asleep, I was having one of those dreams where when you get woke up, you go back into the same dream. And so it's like I kept going back to the same place. And I didn't want to leave it. I did not want to leave it. Even this morning, it was like, I don't want to leave this place. So it was trippy. Even this morning when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, what was this all about, man? You know, am I being watched by the government? Is that the message? I'm not sure. But oh yeah, that's weird, because I was thinking that this morning, and then I saw this video. I'll tell you about that one too. But this dream, I'll just kind of give you, because it was so fucking long and detailed, and some of the people in it, it was like wild. It was like people who I knew. One of the people is not alive anymore, and they were in it. And so I can't remember the whole thing, but on this one part, and it seemed like I was with my brother, and we were in this car or truck or something, trying to get away or something, or leaving, I'm not sure, but this ship came down from the sky, was coming right at us. And I believe in this stuff, you know, neither of my brothers do. But, and so it seemed like that they were having some kind of reaction, whoever, I don't remember which brother I was with. Maybe it was like a combination of them both or something. But so it's coming up and then it zaps me. And so it doesn't zap them, it zaps me. And and I could feel it through my body. This was so real. It was so fucking real. And so, and it was like this, like laser thing that went into my chest, and then it went and it put this energy like going down and up, and then it pulled out, and I had no idea what had happened, why it did it. And I didn't know if it was trying to kill me. I didn't know what was going on. And, so then It was like, and it was weird too, because I was like seeing more than just my role. Like I could be in my role experiencing that, but then I could step back and look and see what was going on over here. And then I could look and see what was going on over there. And then I could be back in my role. It was the wildest thing. And so what it came down to was this guy who chose me. And I don't remember why he chose me, but I knew in the dream, I was told. And he chose me as his partner. And and what they were doing was reversing my age. And so they were changing it to where I was going to start going backwards in age, and I was going to go to 25. And this guy was also having this happen. And so it was like he wanted a partner to start over his life with, and and we were going backwards in age. And so then I was taken by the government, and I was being watched, and then him and I were together, and we were being watched. And so I don't know if it was kind of like this this study or something, and then if it was because it seemed like it was like the government who did that, like lasered me. And it seemed like it was like this experiment or something. And it was so long and so involved. And then I woke up and I would go back into it. It was the craziest thing. And so, I don't know, but I really liked it. I liked it. It wasn't scary or anything. It was really interesting. It was really cool. And in the thing, I kept telling myself that I was going to age backwards. I was going to age backwards. And so, which speaking of, because yesterday I forgot to show my tooth, which I've been doing so much visualization on the healing of my tooth. And that's also kind of the same concept, because I even had started, because I've been doing all this visualization on my tooth, and I had also started telling myself, I could make all my tattoos go away. I want all my tattoos to go away. And I'm having these reactions to the ink and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to tell myself I don't have tattoos anymore, which made me think about Pete Davidson and thinking about, because you can't just go and have your tattoos removed like that. Like there's no fucking way. This is, Pete Davidson 2.0, which I was thinking is kind of trippy, because it was like his induction into the system when he went with Ariana, then Kim Kardashian, and it seems like he was with another one of these people. And then he then he bleached his hair blonde, then which is a part of the whole thing. Then then he started having all his tattoos removed, but there was no videos. I swear to God, he did videos and stuff showing himself get tattooed, but then there was nothing about him getting them removed. It was just all of a sudden, oh, he's getting his tattoos removed. And then, a couple months later, he has no tattoos. And then he is now together with this girl who just had a baby, and he has no tattoos. And I was like, so Pete 2.0 now has a handler. And I was thinking, I wonder if the handlers are, they have to, because of like a clone short out or something, like like if there's some kind of, like, they have to help them, maneuver life or something. I don't know. It's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff. But anyways, I'm, thinking about my tattoos all being gone, made me think about him and his journey, watching his journey. And it's funny too, because even on SNL, people were always like, God, he's not a very good actor. He's not, he's like the character who's standing in the back of the skit cracking up. But he got a huge following. He got a lot of people who really liked him. And then he was such a character. His own personal self was such a character. And going and getting tattoos and just being like this, guy. And So he had all this following. So then it makes it sense because they've got to, anyone who has influence, they have to take control. So they can't have any, rogue influencers out there. They've got to control and contain them, which is kind of weird how so many influencers are so easily controlled and contained just by consumption and consumerism. And that they, it's all about the aesthetic of what they own and stuff. And it's kind of sad. It's kind of like so shallow and so superficial. It's like, oh, you're missing a lot of depth. And there's this, like, the first video I saw this morning was the little girl, and her whole under her Christmas tree was all filled with Gucci, all these name brands. I don't even remember them. All this name brand bags and all this stuff. And so I guess people were freaking out. She's crying, and she looks like she's like fucking 10 or 12 years old. And she's crying. And I'm telling you, the whole room was filled with bags and shit. And so I guess people were freaking out of, like, who does this? And then so somebody, the video I saw was somebody saying she did it. She is the one who makes all the money for the family off of her entertainment on social media by doing dance videos or something, some kind of, silly videos. And so she makes all this money with all her following, and that's how they choose to spend it, is buying her all of this absurd stuff, of just turning her into a product of this environment of consumption and thinking what that's important. And it's just like, God, our society's out of whack, man. And people who think that this stuff doesn't have to happen, if you can't look around and see what is so out of whack in our society and can't see, like, all these things going on and it's not changing it, it's got to get worse and worse and worse. Like, it's so fucking crystal clear. And so, yeah, these people are like, oh, it can all stop. It will stop it and continue on the same path. You can't stop what is coming. It's inevitable. It's written. It's what has to happen, because otherwise this is the world that we have. And the government watching thing. So then I saw another video, and this one was a woman, and she was talking really strange. You could tell, like, she had an accent, and it was like Eastern European, maybe, dialect behind her, at her words. But she talked real weird. And so she said that, and she was, I think, speaking in code and using certain things. So and I don't know all the code for all these different groups, because there's lots of groups that gather to focus on certain situations. And this could be a traffic situation, but they were calling it a P and an O and a W situation. Which yesterday I saw a video of an ex-agent of the 3 letters that start with a C, and he was talking about the TORTURE that we have put people through, and that it is the stuff they've done is just beyond such a lack of humanity, a lack of compassion, and it's disgusting. And he said it wasn't even, like, authorized or anything. I don't know if, like, the ones in charge, don't tell me, just do what you got to do to get someone to talk or whatever. And so anyways, it's horrendous. It's disgusting. But it's not like we're the only country who does that, because there's things that I had seen during different wars of other places, what they have done, and it's disgusting. What happens in war is criminal, and it's against our rights as human beings, that's for sure. And I'm sure, and throughout different lifetimes and different wars, because our whole world has been built so much on war, that we've all participated in these crimes. And, and then that becomes an entanglement, becomes something you have to work through. And you have players that you are working things through, and then you can feel very repelled by certain players, because you don't know what the truth is behind your storyline. And it's best to overcome the feelings that you feel and try and get to the core of where your feelings are coming from so you can process them. So, oh yeah, I still gotta show my tooth in my hair. Because I forgot yesterday. But anyways, let me finish about this lady. So, okay, so the government does, and we know they've got all these secret programs. They know all this stuff that they're so fucking corrupt. And it's not just the government, it is this corporate espionage. This is, and it goes up to like the rulers. Yeah, that's funny because I was going to say royals and then rulers came out. But that's what it is because the rulers create a system of control by having to mind to follow the rules of the rulers, and they put these societal kind of idols, but we don't idolize them necessarily, but they have been idolized in the past. But these structures of putting people in, it's like putting someone on top of the wedding cake. And so they put these people in and then put them under these false labels. Because even if you go to the present, the monarchy presently in the UK, that when you follow the lineage, that isn't, they aren't of a certain bloodline. There's all sorts of different ones in there. And I mean, there was even speculation I heard that Elizabeth was she was the product of maid and ruler, and there's a whole thing about her joining at a young age, her joining the Druids and stuff, and somebody was telling about that when Houdini died and they had his ceremony, that they took a wand, a magic wand, and broke it or something. And that was to symbolize this passing of the something. It had to do with the magic and the wizardry and something like that. Well, they were saying they did it on Elizabeth too. They took a wand and snapped it, she said. So, and then she was showing the history of her and being a part of this Druid populate this group that would have these rituals and stuff. And so there's pictures of her, of this thing, like video footage kind of thing, which there's so much weird stuff about video and picture and aerial photographs and stuff. There's so much weird stuff. It's like they're just stuff, and then they just make a storyline and tell us, and then we just kind of blow it off, but nothing goes together. It just doesn't make any sense. So anyways, but the bloodlines aren't pure, is what they try and, get us to believe, that these people, and why, even with a pure bloodline, why would we think that we need to follow what these people tell us? It's like that they push it on us. And so, because there should be nobody that we need to follow. They push it through religion. They push it through controlling mechanism, controlling family, like all that stuff. But the people at the top, like the fellers at Rock and the children of Roth, and they are the ones that, these old families, these relics. And they continue to build the civilizations or societal norms around these parameters, kind of control and stuff. And so it's all an illusion. It's like, how can anybody be telling us, what to do and how to do it and stuff? And then they try and sell us on the law and order, and then they bring in immoral people to commit crimes against us so that we feel fearful and we need them to protect us. But it's all manufactured. So So this lady, so she was talking about that she is a P and an O and a W from, and she doesn't know who she is, how she got here, and at some point they also had stolen her children, but so she was taken from somewhere, and then she said she can remember being put in a thing like, if you've ever seen, what is that called? Orange Clockwork Orange, I think is the name of it. Um, it shows kind of like how to break what they do to like break your mind and stuff. And it's like they peel their eyes open. And I've seen this in so many different things besides Clockwork Orange. It's like peel their eyes open, hold their eyes, which is when that three-letter guy was talking about like their means of TORTURE, this kind of stuff. So hold them open, and he said that if they don't let you sleep, somebody goes crazy within 4 days, and in 7 days they usually die, and they would do it for like 12. And so then they'll put on this loud stuff, and they won't let them. So in the how they break someone's mind is like they put these screens and put these images and create. They just break people's minds, and then they and she said that they start creating a manufactured identity. So you lose track of who you are, and then they start telling you who you are. And so, and she doesn't know what her language is, but she knows that she's not talking right. And she knows that they did that. They broke this in her. And so she said that what she was asking for in because she's trying to find answers, she's starting to get these memories. She's gotten in contact with somebody now who she doesn't know if it's her brother, she doesn't know if it's her husband, she doesn't know. There's some kind of a genetic link to this guy who also has had this done, which in the comments somebody was saying something about that they do it to certain bloodlines. And so she said that that she had met up with somebody who had told her that they have something that they call the GAME. And so just, the whole fucking thing is a big fucking game. So and they're always playing all these weird ass ones. And it's always a level above our pay grade. So we don't know what's going on, and we're playing a certain role while they're watching it. And so they want to, she said that there's in this GAME that they want to find certain bloodlines, and then they want to break them. And this is something that I've heard from other things that have nothing to do with this. This is another talk in another group of people of talking about the hidden bloodlines of JESUS and Mary. And so they are Magdalene. So that there's these bloodlines, which I know there's more than that. There's more bloodlines than just those ones. And so that they are trying to, and I think that there's like certain, like if you want to think about like star seed bloodlines and stuff, like there's certain DNAs and stuff that they're trying to find. And in this game of illusion, they have a hard time finding ones too. And then they come up with these games of like, let's all do our DNA and see who we are related to. And those, and that's a way that they can try and track. And so they have different tracking mechanisms in order to play their game. And we jump on because, it's above our pay grade. We don't know what they're really doing. We think, oh, this will be fun. And so then, which it kind of is interesting too, because I just was having a talk about this with my sister, because one of my sisters, one of my brothers both did this. I have a few people in my family who did. And my sister said, well, you ought to do it, which there's no fucking way, but I'm not even going into that conversation. And she said, well, you ought to do it. And I said, well, you guys already did, so I can just see, what off yours. And she goes, yeah, but everybody's is different. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not even exactly the same as your siblings and stuff. So, And that is because we are unique, and it has more to do with than just what they're telling you. And so that's what they're trying to track, and they're trying to find certain people. And so, anyways, you do what you want to do, but you know that they are definitely looking for certain people, and there is a GAME that they're playing. And so she said it even has to do with our flag in this GAME that goes on here, and each star is representative of a different star system. And so it's I don't know if they get points or tracking, and or they're trying to find all of the different representation, the different families from different systems. I'm not sure because I'm not in that. I'm not privy to those um, details of the game because I'm not in that level. And so she said that she was hearing about this, and that's what they are doing, and it's a part of it, and they want to take certain ones and create issues with the people so that the people end up in mental hospitals or end up in homeless and all that stuff, which somebody who I know who is super, super psychic, like almost spooky psychic, if you ask me, is she's in one right now. And I don't know, she's really, and she's super paranoid. And it's so crazy because when I was talking to her recently, she seemed to be doing so good. And then all of a sudden there was a break. And I don't know, because when you have access to this other realm of information, that they attack you. And so that's why you have these, super psychic people who are under attack by these evil beings that tell them, all of this stuff. And then they go to the doctor and say, hey, what's going on? They say, oh, it's just in your head. That's not real. That's such a fucking lie. Yeah, but that I don't know that the doctors know. They're a bunch of freaking egotistical, I mean, most of them are just idiots. They're not connected to anything outside themselves. They're connected to their paycheck. They're connected to their money, their dollar amount of value. So they aren't going towards the spiritual realm of understanding. So they don't, I mean, you go to some of these people for answers and they're clueless. So anyways, she said that she had been trying to find out more information, and that's what she was trying to reach out and see if other people knew things and heard things. And she's trying to put her pieces back together. She was asking if anyone recognizes them or recognizes the way she talks or her voice or anything to, she's trying to figure out who she is, where she comes from. And the guy, he said that he all of a sudden started, just within the last couple days, he started having all of these things coming back in, these like weird kind of memory things. And he said it's just like in the movies or something. You just keep getting these flashes and it's hard to understand them, and it gives you a really bad headache, and it's like really difficult, and you get these memories of this stuff that, so I don't know. I mean, they definitely, I wouldn't put any of this stuff past them. There is definitely a group that uses another group to I guess TORTURE, to try and break people and stuff. So and they definitely, there's stuff with the bloodlines, and there's definitely stuff with the DNA. Like there's definitely people that they are looking for, and even if they knew them, like like even take a big name like Caesar or something, and they were fighting against Caesar, and then Caesar leaves, well, then Caesar comes back in a different outfit, comes back in a different body, comes back, and they don't know who it is, but it's still the same people. And so they're looking for these certain people, these certain people. I don't know what else to say about it. So, but I totally, totally believe I've said that for years, that they are looking for certain people, and that they're using these certain things to try and lure us into giving information about ourselves so that they can find them. And then they go in, and when they do find them, they break them. And so anyways, that and all that kind of stuff to me is more of the truth coming to the surface, more of the real world showing and revealing itself. And the game that they play behind our backs is gets very intense. And it is, and I think that there is probably a lot of souls that need to hide some business. There's more to you than what you believe. And but let me do the hair thing too. And I don't know. I go back and forth on this hair thing. Like, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? I don't know. It definitely seems like darker, but I don't know, man. I just don't know. So, there's definitely, like, if I pull this hair back, there's definitely, yes, lady, her face is right up your mind. There's definitely a lot of hair growing, but still, like, those people who are like their hair's down to here. Oh, it only took 2 weeks. Like, what is this? Like, 2 years? I don't even remember when I started trying to fill because all this hair was going out from. It was going back. It was like this receding. All the hair was falling out around my face, which I think it's the radiation off of these little devices that is causing a lot of that with people. And so then, trying to figure out like how to get it to grow back has been an ordeal. And so, anyways, but I've been doing it for fucking years. And so there is starting to be, at first there was like little, in those areas, but now they're starting to be like more hair. So it is definitely growing. And on my tooth thing, I keep feeling it with my tongue too. And I keep feeling like, how does it feel? It does feel like it's filling in more. So, but is what it looks like. And I am doing a lot of, with visualization, a lot of using my mind and keep picturing it getting better and healing and filling in and doing stuff. You just come up with little storylines of what's going on. You can do anything. You can have fairies shooting water guns of stuff into your thing. Whatever it is, you just envision that something changing, and it starts changing. And I swear to God, I'm trying to wrap my mind around, like, because you think about it, the med beds, for them to work and stuff, there has to be a component to our minds accepting it. And so if your mind can accept it, then it should be able to accept it outside of the med bed. And so I keep telling myself, like, you don't have tattoos anymore. You don't have any tattoos anymore. And so anyways, but that's a big test. That's a big one. So we'll see how it keeps going. Maybe they'll just start fading away or something. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the ink. It's like it's causing me to get these weird rashes. And I do want to say something more about this movie, or this show. And they just got signed on. There's going to be 2 more seasons or 3 more seasons or something. They just signed on for more, which there's so many things about this show. And I didn't know, this is the weird thing about reality too. It's like, I didn't know anything about it. Like, my daughter had told me, and I kept being like, I don't want to just watch some show if they're just going to be showing a bunch of gay sex and trying to push us they're always trying to push us into this voyeurism and all this stuff. And so I was like, I don't know. And my daughter kept saying, oh, it's so good. You got to watch it. And I was like, I don't like to watch shows that are just full of sex. It doesn't matter if it's hetero, homo, it doesn't matter. I just don't like it. I come from a time when, they would show the people, eyeing each other. Then they go in the room and shut the door. And it's like, oh, you knew what they were doing. That's all I need. I don't need this whole thing of watching it all the time. It makes me uncomfortable, and I don't like it. I don't like feeling like a voyeur or something. And so so she was like, oh, you just got to watch it. It's so good. It's so good. So then I started watching it. And then I was like, oh my God, this show is so good. I cannot even freaking tell you how good this show is. And it is so far beyond the sex. That's the thing. It is about this desire. It's about passion. It's about vulnerability. It's about all of these key components to what we all experience in relationships. And they play it out so beautifully. And there's so much more complexity to the relationship because of the social norms that are the expectation. So there's a whole nother level of what, like you can't, especially in their careers that are very, uh, what is that? They're very, where lots of people know who they are and see them and have an expectation of who they are and what they should do. And then so it's like you have to go against this whole system to be your truth. And there's so much of that in it, hiding yourself and not being honest and not being truthful. Like, so the things about what the show is showing are so much more depth to them. And even the sex is so much more about love and passion. I don't look at it as just like it's just a sex thing. But so and I didn't know anything about what was going on in the world about this show. And so then I watched it and I loved it. And I was like, oh my God, there were so many things. You're just bawling your head off. Like, it's so emotional, this show. And so then my daughter started saying, that the characters are so different and that the one guy's not even Russian. I was like, what? Like, what? And so she started sending me videos of them as they're, like, because they're a sensation right now and they're in all these interviews and stuff. And and then I saw, that they were different, but that flipped my algorithm. So most of my algorithm is about that show, about these guys, and about all the people who are watching it. So it's weird how you flip all of a sudden into this reality, and it's like, whoa, man, this is so big. And I was over here and had no idea. And it's huge. Like, it's huge. You have spiritual people talking about the spiritual ramifications of what is happening because it is opening people. People are awakening from this show. Like, the show is very impactful. Like, I just can't even tell you enough about the show. But if you don't feel drawn to watch it, then it's not part of your story. Don't worry, But it is a part of a lot of people's story. And it is really impactful. And people are becoming obsessed and people are becoming confused by themselves, like they're so attracted to the whole thing. And it's like, what does that mean to my sexuality? It has such a huge, at first they were like, oh, it's really, shook things up for the LGBT, that whole community. But it has for all of this huge amount of hetero sexual women and even men. Like, I saw clips of these different podcasts of hockey podcasters and straight podcasters. Oh my God, this show has become like, even at because one of the teams is Boston. And even at the game the other day with Boston, they started playing the music from the movie or the show. And so this has become like this sensation. And it has woke people up and it's got people to question a lot about their identities and about what does this all mean and what, and people confused, like, why am I so in life? And there's a lot of phrases going around. Everybody's really locked into some of the phrases. So when you hear somebody say, we're going to the cottage, that's out of the thing. And that's a big thing right now because of the meaning in the show about what it all was about. And so a lot of people are saying in 2026 is we're going to the cottage. This is our change. This is humanity's big moment. And it's gonna make me cry. It's really this phenom or something, this energetic huge thing happening. Even I saw this one guy who was down in Hollywood on one of the nights that it airs, because it was, each week. And there was watch parties all over the place. And people have filmed themselves at the watch party, especially for episode 5. Episode 5 is phenomenal. And the whole show is, though. And but the guy who was downtown, he was in Hollywood, and he was showing every single bar that had a TV. The whole bar was packed full, and every TV had that show on. So that's, how big it is. And I was even thinking, like, I remember that show, The Gray, what was that? It was the book, and all these women got so into the book, and there ended up being three. Then they made the movie, and Dakota Johnson was in it, and that other guy who was so cute, can't remember his name. But so it became this like phenom thing too, like this phenomena of change, like of where it was, and it wasn't about the S and the M. It was this other part of people, this part of people that was like hidden, and it pulled it out, and it became like this sensation, and so that one made a big movement in our society. I remember that, and it was explosive, and I think it was the same kind of like thing of this hitting into the desire, the buildup, and in that one too, it was also, the guy taking control and stuff, and but in this, it is definitely hitting it with the women because of the build up and the romance, as it the desire that is so, building up and building up, and the distance, and it's just it's very intense, like a romance novel or something, which I've never really read those, but I know that that is this same kind of thing. It's the big buildup. That's why women love romance novels so much, is it has this buildup. It's not just like PORN or something. Excuse me, lady, what are you doing? She's got to get closer and closer. She's got to stand up and get closer and closer. It's like, how close? So so it has this huge thing, and it has people is very confused about a lot of the things. But I had seen this one guy do this video, and he said that who would have thought that gay sex would bring us all together as a collective, and that to me is kind of like where I think people are missing it. It's like it isn't about the sex. It is the love. It is the passion. It is the willing to. It's the struggle of finding your truth, and stepping into it and revealing yourself. Like, it's so much more complex than what, for people to sit there and say, oh, because there's like always, there's every offshoot of every expression being talked about. And so there's, I mean, because I've seen people talking about, oh, this is fetishizing gay men and all that stuff. It's like, it's a story about love. It's a story about love, and in people not being able to be their true selves, and what they'll go to in order to reveal themselves and find themselves, and the parts of them they hide from themselves and stuff. So it's so much bigger than just the sex, and it just so happens to be two men, but that adds a extra layer of complexity of the breaking boundaries, and social norms, and all of the restrictions of being able to be who you are and be true to yourself. And so and like I've said before, it's that's what the part that I don't believe in, and just the gay concept, is because it's about love. It's about the finding your true love. It's about who you love. It's not just locking yourself in as like, that to me is when you're just a guy and you say, well, I just like dick, that's it, about that. Then that is kind of fetishy, to not be open to where the love comes from. Because I think that as a society, as a collective that we need to be more open to the love. And then when there's people who, they fall in attraction to a same-sex relationship, but then they don't want to experience it because they're scared of rejection by their peers and family and stuff, and so they hold themselves back from love. That is an experience. That is something you're here to learn about. So to me, it's all of this whole thing is about learning how to experience love and to really find yourself and to be yourself. So the show to me is so much bigger. So when I've started seeing spiritual people talking about the implications of what this show is doing to society and how it's opening people up, and people are starting, and it's creating this whole thing with people like wanting to go out and find themselves and stuff. And it's getting people to push themselves into like, all these people are like, oh, I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start. I saw somebody talking about, people are saying like they're going to start doing more art. They're going to start, it's this whole thing about finding yourself and being true to yourself and being authentic and being open. Don't have all of these things that are closing you off to your experience, what you're here to experience. And in this world, they do nothing but create like the bars to our prison, and they keep us from finding ourselves, from expressing ourselves. They keep us under control and containment all the time, and they do it through so much peer pressure and so much of the fear of abandonment and rejection. And so it's a big journey to be able to bypass those things and learn to love yourself, and not do like what other people think about you is sidebar. It doesn't really have anything to do with your own story. That you, if they want to sit in judgment of you, that's their place to sit. They can sit in their own judgment, but it's not about you, it's about them. It's the cesspool that they create in their own little judgment. It's what holds them, it's what binds them, is their own judgment. So when we get all upset that somebody is judging us and thinking that we're not good enough or whatever, it is more about them. So it is something that we need to learn how to get over. And it's a trap. It's like what holds you back is these concepts of, of rejection and abandonment and people not being there for you and people thinking bad of you and stuff like that, which creates you to start thinking bad about yourself. And then you don't go out and, experience your truth or experience true love because you are worried of what other people think. And it isn't necessarily like everybody's got to go out and experience the same-sex relationship. But the thing is some people are here to experience that, to experience what it is to find true love and what true love really means. And so anyways, in the show, I see it so much more about the journey and true love and finding yourself and expressing yourself than about just gay sex. So then when I see people talking about like, well, it's gay sex that brought us all together, it's like, I think you're missing the point of this movie. And there is lots of gay guys, who are really into the movie because it is, like their love story of, and I'm sure lots of them want to live the love story, but a lot of, in all homosexual and heterosexual relationships, we've all been following lust rather than love. We haven't let love grow. Instead, we've just lusted and think that we found the one. And I saw a video of a guy talking, and I heard this a long, long time ago when I was young. And it was, women are always, they're looking for their true love or whatever, but men are marrying whoever's there when it's their time to get married. So it doesn't like they're out looking for true love. It's like they reach this point of like, well, I'm done dating and I want to settle down. I'm 30 years old, and it's just whoever they meet at the time, then that is where they go in that direction. A lot of times they have to, does she cook or clean, but some don't even do that. Some just marry the girl, and then the girl thinks that, he loves her, and then they've got this true love and stuff, and then all it is disappointment, because it's not built off of real love and really getting to know somebody. I mean, we don't even have people who court anybody anymore, pursue. It's all about this, just like, let's meet in the bathroom at the restaurant and bang it out. And if it works out good, let's start seeing each other. It's like we're upside down, and that's what our relationships reflect. And so it's not just heterosexual relationships that are falling apart, homosexual relationships are falling apart too. And so I think everybody is looking for this. And I saw somebody do a video, and they said, it'd be great if it was true that somebody could really love you for 10 years. And I said, and I commented on that one too. I said, we've built our lives around lust. Love really does exist. We don't give it time. we don't let it become, we're looking for a quick fix. We're looking for what we can have fast. Nobody wants to put in the time of getting to know somebody and building up something with them. So that's where you get the real connection, the real feeling of being together as a couple and not just opponents in a ring of a relationship, which that is weird too. Yeah, they have us get a ring. And a ring, what happens in a ring is that to opponents who battle it out, and that's what a lot of marriage has become, is a battle zone, a battleground. And then on top of it, people are getting pregnant and having kids, and then you're drawing that whole thing into it, which is, our society shows itself, it's revealed itself as being so dysfunctional. And the only way to resolve the dysfunction is for us to change who we are, the players. We've got to make the changes. The game isn't going to change for us. We have to change the players so that the game changes. We create the change that we want it to be. That's this whole thing going on in this splitting of realities, is because some people are willing to give what they desire. And so that's the whole thing of forgiveness and stuff. And we still have a huge group of people, which I felt really happy about this one, is because somebody did a video saying, how many people, is there anybody out there who has a good mom who's a boomer? And I said, in my comment, I said something like, why do we have this expectation on women that they need to be a good mom rather than just be themselves? Why, how do we get there? And then when I was looking at other people's comments, so many people were like, well, I don't want to judge my mom. I don't want to be that kind of person and stuff like that. And so, that's a move in the right direction. But we do still have a lot of people who are in that situation of cutting people out of their lives, like, well, you hurt my feelings, you're out. And that's, no contact. So there's still so many people who are like, I'm no contact. That's why I'm no contact. I have no contact with my mom, or whoever. And so, but that holds you in a stagnation of judgment and victimization. Like, you're the victim, poor you, and not giving the mom figure is the ability to be free to be themselves, and to that they have to fit into this role, this ideal. And who is the one who creates this ideal? Because probably their ideal of a mom is a little different than your ideal of a mom, but then you want them to live up to your expectation, so then you sit in judgment of them. And so that's where this whole victimization needs to come back on to the person, and they need to reevaluate their own role in their own life, in their own way of how they have so much expectation and want people like, well, I've got to have the perfect mom. If she's not the perfect, she argues with me. Is like, well, maybe she feels like you argue with her. like it's just like there's got to be these big changes, but that's why there's all these things that are going to be happening, which they've already started happening. Is because Taiwan yesterday, it had a big like 7 point earthquake, and then it might be downgraded now to a 6.8. They keep doing that. They keep saying it's 1, and then they keep fluctuating the numbers. And I don't know if they're doing it to try and make it so we're not scared or what. But then they said that there was supposed to be a big tsunami. And I think that they were saying it could be hitting today, and it could be over by California. So they were saying that there was going to be a tsunami. They didn't know where or whatever. But to be aware, especially if you're in California, be prepared. And I see this lady video, and she's like, have your shoes ready. Have your stuff ready. Like, don't just be sitting there thinking nothing's coming. Something's coming. Get ready. And so then I think it's in Puerto Rico. Maybe it's Costa Rica. I don't know. Someplace over in Central or South America or something. They had a big one. So they also had a big one yesterday of 6.8 or something. And then and then when those two went, then they started saying about the tsunami and stuff, but then it started causing some volcanoes to start putting out whatever they're called, flukes or something, these bursts of stuff, like smoke coming out of volcanoes. So they've woke up a couple more volcanoes. So there's a couple more volcanoes going. And so, and the expectation is that these are just beginning the earthquakes. This isn't just like it could be, because a lot of times before an earthquake happens, so there'll be like a 3, and then there'll be another one, it'll be like a 3.5, and then all of a sudden there'll be a 6. So they kind of have these ones that build up to the bigger one. So it normally, and there's been these earthquake swarms all over, and you'd think that the news would be talking about it all the time, because some of these swarms are like 100 volcanoes. 100 earthquakes, and some of them are all in 3s and 4s. But it's like it's more serious business what's going on in the world right now over the natural disasters. And then we do have something going on in the sky. We do have something going on with the money, which that one girl who, I thought I was doing pretty good on my silver, and then now I'm on this total reeval. God damn it, I should have got more. And then I started thinking how I was spending my money. God, that was stupid. I should have got more. When that girl told me she had 250 ounces, I was like, bitch, what? And then I went into my calculator. I said 250 ounces times 10,000, because if it goes up to 10,000 an ounce, which that's the expectation, and then sure is a lot of build up to this of like there's a shortage and we need it and all this stuff. So and it's already up to 80 something, whatever. It just keeps building and building and building, and which is going to build so much higher. So but so then that ends up being like $2,500,000. But that is in this, that girl is going to be well off. That's just all there is to it. 250 ounces of silver, she's going to be really well off. I think she's not going to have to worry about anything, because the prices of things are going to go down too. And like if you had $1 million back in the 60s, you were fucking well off. Now it could be like $1 million, that barely buys a house and a car. But, the reevaluation of when the inflation has to, because the inflation is a creation for this current currency. And so when they have to reevaluate the prices of things are going to go way down. And then there's going to be a lot of things that we're not even going to be paying for anymore. So it's going to be like, I couldn't believe that, 250. I was like, dang, girl, you were freaking on it, man. So anyways, but you got to not be in jealous and envy. You got to keep your shit together. However you were led is how you were led. And, be true to yourself. So don't be like, oh, I should have done what they did. I should have been what they are. I should have, everything, all different things are supposed to play out. So, being true to you is the most important thing, and following your instincts and following, but and that doesn't mean everything is not lessons, because everything about life is choices and consequences. So it is about learning throughout the experience. And so anyways, so we do have a lot of stuff going on. We have the crashing of the economy happening. We got this whole group of people who are sure that Donald is this person that this thing has put out, which I think, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be that we're supposed to see, somehow it'll come out like some of these files were not, they were created and manipulated, because I can't wrap my head around that somebody would come on and make this their mission in life to bring this stuff down, work with lawyers and stuff like that. But then they are, it's them that I think that the people who believe that don't understand the other parts to his role, which there's people who are saying like, there's so much truth to those kinds of things that are going to be coming out. People are going to really, their concepts or their beliefs on certain people are going to just be flipping. And it's going to be very unsettling for people, because people are going to start seeing people very different than how they saw them. And it's not just in the idea of who you idolized and finding out that they were raunchy and rank, but it's going to also be people who you don't like, and then finding out that they're the good guys. And that's the thing with that Harry. He keeps trying to be like, oh, well, they're all these good guys and stuff. Well, there's some people out there who committed these crimes. That's the whole thing, is that we were supposed to be looking into the deeper, the games that are being played above our pay grade, above our level of comprehension, and that there was a whole system going. It is like a wedding cake. It is like these layers, of this pyramid scheme of life, of the games, and we are this group that holds it all up. But there's players above the thing that are playing a different game than us, and it's like we aren't, and we are products kind of our environment when we aren't playing on their level. We're the entertainment. And so that is, and that's the truth. And so to think like that there is no players in these other levels, then that's just idiocracy. There is, and they are a structured group as well. That's where it does become this corporate, this what are those people? These not missionary, it's like the corporate armies, and they're secret. Everything is these secret programs, all these secret programs and stuff. So anyways, but these players, they're up there. And yeah, it's funny too. Yeah, because it is like the top of the wedding cake. And then they have the royals or whatever. But then there's another group beyond that would be the ones that are controlling that. And those are the ones that are hidden. They're not even, you don't even see them. Those are the ones that I would, call the child of Roth and the fellers that rock, these, and to me, it's these ancient family lines that are, they come from like the original people. But then there's also, you got some of these that are like shapeshifters and stuff. So I don't know, things are so much more complex in this world than what people have any clue about. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to start understanding the game on different levels and seeing, what's really going on around us. And on our level, what we woke up to is, they're making us sick on purpose. And then it makes sense, because they've got the cure. We run to them and get them sick, and then, like come to you for, here, fix me, fix me, fix me. And then you raise the price and raise the price. And we're desperate and we'll do anything. And so, and then, create this scenario of like, Zions. And that's, if you don't believe in that, then you are ignorant. It's like, that's a big trick too. As soon as you start understanding about the purpose of nature and plants and organic and what we are and stuff like that, then it, that's a whole nother thing. So anyways, and the whole other thing of just the spiritual, this, to me, I've always, since I was a kid, have been playing this thing out through spiritual. And it was easy for me because that became my life from the time I was 3, when they started talking to me. And I won't just say, oh, it was just my higher self, because that was the thing that got me. It was completely different voices, completely different entities. There was the light and there was the dark, and I realized I was in the battle between them. And so, you think of your higher self as being the voice of reason, the kindness, the loving, this gentle voice that is, to me, it's always in the back of the room, and it doesn't judge when you don't listen. And so it's just this most loving, sense of another being, but really it's this part of you when it's your higher self, or it's your oversoul, which is, you're a part of it. So it's kind of an extension of you, but you get lost from yourself. But but then you have the negative, who is loud and is the lure. It's like this enticing kind of voice that entices you. And that's what we live in, a world that is full of fetish, through this enticement and this searching for this energy that people are looking for, that fulfills, but it is a temporary thing that you're always having to look for it again and again and again and again. And instead of building it up inside of yourself, it's a lustful society. So but for me, yeah, it started when I was so little, and and it continued throughout my whole life. So it was easy for me to live my life through spirit, but it was confusing also, though, because I lived in a world where other people weren't. And when I tried to talk to people on this certain level, people didn't understand me, and I always seemed crazy, and I seemed odd to people. And I couldn't understand what was going on, because I thought I was just regular. I thought we all had this, thought we all had these voices talking to us. So I had no idea that that not everybody I think that everybody hears them, but I think it just sounds like a lot of noise in their head. And so that's why it's like so much about, you got to slow it down, and you got to start really listening and really putting in the energy to listen. What is being said? Who are you talking to? What are you telling me? And start really deciphering what it is you're being told, and start responding. And there's some of them where you guys start telling them, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of my head. Go away. I don't want to be bothered with you. But they can seem like they go away, but then they come back because they're attached to you through your vibration. And so they don't go far. You're going to battle them throughout your life. And even when you're raising your vibration, they will still stick around and stuff. It's just, I think it's just a part of this realm. And so it's like you have good guides and you have bad guides. So, and then you get to decide every day who you're going to follow, which way you're going to go, which way you're going to go. And it's there's such a lure and an enticement, but the other can seem kind of like more boring and stuff. So anyways, but that's the journey. That's the journey to yourself. That's the figuring stuff out for yourself. And that's the game of choices and consequences. So, and that's, you can be playing it on that level. And that's the thing too, is some of the ones that are above our level want to be playing it at that level, but they are lost. And that's why they're trying to seek and destroy, the certain players. And so, anyways, but that's, that's their whole thing behind the gate program, the whole thing behind their different testings and stuff like that, because they do want to seek and destroy, just like that girl said. They want to get them, destroy them, lock them up, and throw away the key, and drive you insane, and then make it to the point where you're homeless, and then you are they want that to destroy you. That's why you can't let them, you just can't let them win. You just got to keep going and putting things into perspective, and always stay in communication with the other side, if you ask me, because they'll keep you grounded. They'll keep you sane in an insane world. That's what I think. So anyways, but that's how I've lived. That's how I've played this game. That's how I've, made it this far. So, and we'll see what's next. We'll see what's coming next. Who knows? I mean, it could be tsunamis, it could be volcanoes, or it could be anything can happen at this point. But you got to remember, no matter how scary it gets, no matter how intense things get, this is just a story. It's just a movie. It's not real. You don't, if something takes you out, you just come right out. You don't, it's not like that it really gets you. You just come out of the story at that point that something's going to get you. You're out and you're in you're standing there, and and then and this is something I just saw in a movie I just was watching. The other day I was watching all these Christmas movies, and this one happened to have Shirley MacLaine in it, and she's like my mentor of because I was she stood on ground that I walked towards from when it was not acceptable, and she stood there like an oak tree, and so I have mad respect for her. And it gave me she was a light bearer for me. And so anyways, this movie, and it is one of the Sex and the City's girls, Kristen. It's not Kristen Bell. I think her name's Kristen something, but it's the dark-haired one, is the girl who was in the movie. And then she falls and she dies. And so she is, and Shirley MacLaine's the guide, or the person, the angel who's there for her. And when she does, she's like, no, I'm not. I feel the same. I feel the same. That's what I have said this whole time. You will feel the same. When I came out of my body, it was like you all of a sudden realize, like, your body's nothing. That's nothing. You feel the same. You don't need that body. You don't need that body to think. You don't need it to walk. You don't need it to talk. You don't need it for anything. It's just an illusion. And so that's the thing. It's like, and that's, I think, what throws so many people too, because they're so indoctrinated with that you die and you just, nothing happened, nothing. And then they die and they come out of their body and they're like, well, wait a minute, I'm still the same. So what's going on here? And it causes a huge amount of confusion. But that's the thing, is like, because yeah, you will be exactly the same. Like, fucking the volcano blows over your house and the lava comes down, and it's coming on your roof or whatever. You just walk out of that door and all of a sudden you're in a different world. So it's not it can't take you out. That's a part of the indoctrinated kind of illusion that they want to create for you to keep you living in fear, but it's not true. So anyways, that's just something to remember. So no matter how scary things get and how intense things get, just remember you're okay, you're safe. Nothing can really hurt you. It's that's what they want to keep you trapped in, the thing that something can happen to hurt you, but it can't. And you're powerful energy. You're an orb, and you'll just bounce right out and take a new form and go to a new place. So anyways, but we'll see what this day brings us, because no telling. And while you're here, for every chance you get, though, is to work on yourself, to really find yourself, to really go towards figuring yourself out and being true and authentic to yourself. And it is a beautiful thing. And that is what's got people so excited, because that's what we all really want. We all really want true love. We all really want to be connected. We all really want to be able to show ourselves and be accepted. And that is where you got to put that out. If that's the world you want to live in, you got to start doing it. You got to start accepting everybody. You got to start loving everybody. And you're not going to have a hard time loving anybody until you figure out how to love yourself. So love yourself. Figure out how to love yourself. Figure out how to love everybody else, and figure out how to have the day you want to have. It's like it's the simple steps to a better world. And we'll see what this one's going to bring us today. So I'm guaranteed it's going to be some kind of crazy drama. So it's Sunday, so we'll see. Now we'll be starting another week and flying by, because it's going to be like 2026 here coming real quick. Oh yeah, and I looked it up. So the Chinese horoscope thing starts like February 4th. So it is, which trips me out, because it was like, that's only 2 weeks from this person's birthday. So when we fit into that period of time together, I don't know, that trips me out. Yeah, I mean, somehow I'm connected to this person. I don't know what the thing is, but I know I'm connected to this person, and there's all these little weird things. So anyways, but so the year of the horse of fire should be January. I don't know what'll go on in January, but February is when this new thing, and I don't know if there'll be things, precursors starting in January. And it could be a lot of stuff's going to change in January, because there's like astrology things, and it could be our own momentum. Everybody's pumped, man. Everybody's pumped for 2026. So, see you at the cottage. So anyways, but I'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.